Welcome to the Business of Property podcast. I'm Simon.
And I'm Stuart.
We're both property people running our own businesses. This podcast is just us chatting, as we often do, about anything and everything property. So, Stuart, I think with all the changes in the world at the moment, you were just saying you can't remember what you had to eat yesterday.
Well, okay, if you're going to put me on the spot, it was mushroom chili, all right? I can actually remember. It is,
You're doing better than me, I can't.
I'm struggling to remember more than 7 sleeps ago. That's my problem. But that's age for you. But we were talking about more pertinent things to the title of this podcast in relation to property, I believe.
We might have been. I struggled to remember 5 minutes ago, never mind last night. So I think we were just sort of talking about all the ups and downs and rapidly changing things in the world. And I was under the impression that in-person property valuations had stopped a while ago, and you have told me not. You've had a valuation done.
Well, I'm obviously nervous now. So if anyone from any legal body or ombudsman is listening, I'm not sure it did actually happen. But yes, hypothetically, I had a valuation on an HMO property yesterday, a 7-bed HMO. Obviously, we followed sort of protocols on it. The surveyor phoned me, said that he'd like to conduct the survey. I shall mention no names. And I said, of course, provided the tenants are happy and provided you take precautions and you do it in a socially distanced manner, i.e., whatever the meterage is, and you're wearing a mask and gloves. And I spoke to the managing agent, and the tenants were fine. They just said, as long as he's only going to pop his head through our doors and not touch anything, which he didn't. He really just needed to whiz around the property. Which I see it from two perspectives. From my perspective, obviously, I kind of want it to happen because it's part of a refinance. And as we were talking, I'm getting nervous about whether that would come to fruition anyway, because I've got three refinance. Free refinance mortgages happening at the moment.
We kind of started talking about this because we've just been on a quick call with a mortgage broker who we were supposed to be recording with today, but has been called away for urgent paw patrol duty.
We can empathise.
Indeed. And he was saying that the mortgage world is changing rapidly, but is still going. It is, things are still happening. It's definitely not shut down. It is alive. So there's hope still for your remortgages and valuations and things that you've got going on, presumably.
I know it's getting bad when you're having to chivvy me up. I know that's. I know. But thank you. I appreciate the positivity. It's and the optimism. I think we're getting to that stage where it's needed.
I don't know. I don't. I try to avoid news and getting sucked down depressing wormholes. So now we're all sort of shut away in our own little home bubbles. I kind of don't feel too negative about it. It's the world outside is a distance away. Don't need to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, no, I feel the same. Actually. I think, I've posted yesterday on LinkedIn just about the fact that I've been out in the kids with the garden doing their PE classes with them, football, and I think we've been very fortunate that we've had some top quality weather, and obviously more fortunate that we're not directly impacted by this at the moment, because that's the real concern, isn't it, for those that are impacted, those that are actually on the front line. I think for a lot of us, just being asked to stay at home is
it's the easy part, really, isn't it?
As simple as that is, it seems to be very difficult for others. But yeah, we've got the easy job to be asked to sit at home. And I was only reflecting on it, as we were talking on a Zoom call earlier on. We are geared up for this now, and I appreciate that not all sectors can do what we're doing, but we're in a modern age where you can stay as connected, sat on your sofa, as you could wherever, in the pub or the restaurant, because we've got all sorts of technology to support that. So,
yeah, indeed, it's a fortunate age, really, to be able to cope with a lot of it.
Yeah,
obviously, lots of jobs and roles and things are not able to cope quite as well, even with the technology.
Yeah. Well, we've digressed slightly off the topic, and obviously for good reason. But back on the point is that, essentially the surveyor wanted to do it. He's actually been to the property, so I now just have to wait for those results to come back. I was saying to you, my concern is whether the offers I've got will stay on the table. So I've got, AIPs, agreement in principles, for 3 mortgages. One of the properties I'm splitting the freehold into 2 properties. So it's actually now I'm getting 3 mortgages where once there were 2. And then looking to, refinance and use those funds for another project, which I am in the throes of purchasing at the moment as well, actually. So I need to check on that.
On that freehold split, you're taking 1 freehold and splitting it into 3? Is that?
No, 2. So
essentially, why 3 mortgages?
Because I've got another property that I'm refinancing.
Ah, right. Okay.
That's a simple one.
Too much going on.
Do you know, it's funny when people say, have you got much going on? I always say, not really. But then I've just realised we're splitting the freehold on 1 property. So I've got I'm working through 2 mortgages, refinancing another 7-bed property. I'm purchasing a 3-bed property, which we are due to convert into a 4-bed. And I'm also 95% of the way through a flip project. Let's not talk about the outcome of that, but at least if the project gets finished, and so there is a fair amount going on, and that's obviously just the top line stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a fair amount. So let's have a quick run through all of that then. What has been and what hasn't been impacted by the changes of working from home and viral concerns?
Well, obviously, people not being able to turn up on site is a big impact. So the builders that were working on the flip project, quite rightly, some of them said we're not, we're concerned, so they're not turning up.
Okay, so when I think on our last recording and last episode, when we recorded, you said you were expecting that to be completed by the time the episode aired. So presumably between recording and airing, your builders decided that they needed a bit more social distancing. So you've still got work pending on that, yeah?
Yeah, I mean we're all there bar the shouting. I mean, I visited the property a couple of weeks back, and it wasn't in a great state, if I'm honest. It was lots of rubbish hadn't been cleared. But that's all been done now. So we're on the final straight. Second fixes have mostly been done, I believe. Kitchen's in. So we're converting a 1-bed into a 2/3. It's probably a 2 with a study. It's going to be quite nice, actually. It's going to have it's a really nice flat. Really, I think it's about 800 square foot. We're going to 2-bed. But that's mostly done. I think in the next 2 weeks. I think the lead builder's kind of said he's happy to go because he'll pretty much be on his own. And if he's driving there, literally he just parks up and goes up to the flat. So I don't think it's an issue. It's, and I don't expect anyone to do anything that I'm not comfortable doing. If I'm staying at home isolating, it'd be hypocritical of me to expect anyone else to do it. So that's him. But I did have a long conversation with another builder yesterday who happens to do a lot of the maintenance around Plymouth, so where all of my properties are, or most of the properties are, and he said, that's all stopped now, and the only work they're working on is maintenance work. And I don't know about anyone else, but it gets quite frustrating because after sort of like a week at home, I'm sort of ready and I'm chomping at the bit to get things moving and done. So I'm phoning people, and they're like, "Yeah, we can't wait to get started on that, Stuart, but you need to give us at least 2 weeks and then we'll see where we're at." So, yeah, a bit frustrating.
Yeah. So the flip's kind of on pause, although maybe making some slight progress with a single builder.
I'd say it's probably, what do you call it? Old cars, you'd say it's on limp mode. It's it's just going to go slowly.
Yeah. So then we talked about one refinancing, which you still had the valuation go ahead. So I think that leaves us the freehold split and refinancing there. Has that seen any impact yet, or is it not really at a point where you would? Is it just sort of waiting for paperwork to be processed and things? Or?
Yeah, it's. I've had the agreements in principle. The offers have been made. The valuations have been done. One valuation was, I probably put it in for slightly more than I was hoping for, which may not surprise anyone that listens to this podcast. So that came in about 10% lower than I was projecting. The other one came in exactly what we asked for, so that's fine. The challenge on that one is just finishing the legals of the split, actually. So I'm waiting to hear back from the solicitors. They've kind of gone MIA. Whereas I think everyone else now, it's a bit like, I don't know if you agree, it's a bit like, when GDPR came into effect, you started hearing from everyone and their wives, even companies that you didn't even know you subscribed to started saying, can you hit the button? You're like, oh, right, I didn't know. Thank you for reminding me. I'll unsubscribe. I've got the same thing with this coronavirus. I'm getting emails from companies I didn't even know existed, telling me about coronavirus, except from the people I need to hear from, like my solicitor.
Yeah, actually, I've had 2, maybe 3 emails from a solicitor I dealt with. Crikey, maybe. Well, I think 5+ years ago, during a difficult eviction process. So you used them for a while, and sort of that was just the single engagement, and not heard from them since. And now suddenly, in the last couple of weeks, I've had a couple of emails about coronavirus and what they're doing to keep working, and how we can be good citizens and things. And then the last one was them trying to sell me a will, at which point I found the unsubscribe link.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of zombie mailing lists being brought back to life, I think, at the moment. Not really for the general health of most people or the internet at large, I think.
Yeah.
So you've not actually heard from your solicitors that you're waiting for at all. So you don't know whether they've gone into remote working lockdown, or whether they're having staffing troubles or anything. Yeah,
not this particular one. I'm dealing with dealing with multiple solicitors, but yeah, actually a couple of them have gone quite quiet, which is strange. And then the other challenge on the refinance, remortgage, as I have to appoint. In fact, no, on the purchase that I'm doing, I need to appoint both solicitors. One, because we're doing it's a mortgage. Now, it's kind of a bridge. It's a bridge to let. So we're doing a bridge to purchase the property, but it's going to stay with the same provider, Precision. And then once the works are finished, it converts into a buy-to-let product. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I say obviously, but every bank, takes everything from you that they can. And on this one, I still need to appoint their side of solicitors. So I've got 2 sets of legal costs, which is a real pain in the backside.
So what stage are you at the moment in that sort of purchase process?
Well, just having this conversation has reminded me I need to drop a note to the solicitor just to find out. I actually, on that one, we're just finalising the mortgage. So we've had just finalising the mortgage offer. So I need to provide them with paperwork. And
you've not had any indication that they want to change their offer or adapt things at all?
No, not via the broker. I mean, if anything, I've felt that brokers are getting a little more active. Again, it's anecdotal and it's from a straw poll of 2, but they're certainly reaching out a little bit more, talking about how they can help, what they can do. So, I mean, I think it feels like a lot of businesses where they're able to still work remotely, they're trying to drive business forward, which is absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah, quite. So you said you're planning to you're buying on a bridge while you do some work before converting onto standard mortgage.
Yeah.
That bridge, how long were you expecting that to be for?
It'll probably be no more than 6 months.
Have you changed that period at all in light of the current delays on builders and what have you?
No, because we haven't had the final mortgage offer yet. So, to be honest, once the paperwork's done, my side, and once we've got the mortgage offer, then we can then I'll review it, because that won't be done for another couple of weeks, and I think we'll know. Well, we won't know anything for sure, but hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll get a sense of, because in the back of my mind, off the record, obviously, it's kind of one of those where I'm like, well, we'll get to mortgage offer, we'll see where we are in a couple of weeks' time, 2 to 4 weeks' time, because it may just be we say, actually, it doesn't make sense to do what we were thinking of doing. But my view is always we'll keep pushing ahead. I mean, I like the property, I like the value I'm paying for it, I like what I can do with it. Convert it from a 3 to a 4. So nothing's changed in my mind. However, if we are on lockdown for 3 months, we can't do anything. So it wouldn't make sense for me to progress.
You do know that we're recording this. So it's hard to have things off the record and recorded with the intention of publishing.
Yeah, I do. No, I mean, because my view is that we'll progress regardless, because I'm quite bullish in these scenarios until literally I'm cut off at the knees and have to listen to people that talk sense, like your good self.
I won't be cutting your knees off. It's okay. Far too squeamish to do anything like that.
So you got nothing in progress at the moment? Nothing you're concerned about, property-wise?
Only one thing that's sort of just a little on the horizon, which is a gas safety check that I've got due in April, and I'm not quite sure how that process is going to work at the moment. Obviously, it's going to take a lot more care and consideration between the tenants and the gas engineer to be able to schedule that and actually perform it with appropriate distancing in mind.
Well, we just had a boiler replaced on Wednesday, a couple of days ago, and they were saying, I think there's still debate over whether they being gas safety engineers are considered to be essential and frontline, and obviously our perspective, given that we hadn't had heating or hot water for 5 days, was you bloody are. But I guess the government will decide. But it seems to me that's a pretty it's one of the primary things down on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, isn't it? Heating.
Yeah, I think so. A safe living quarters or arrangements, whatever. Yeah, I think are pretty important. Have you got any other works planned in tenanted properties or anything that you think might be tricky?
Well, it's all going on at the moment. I've got a property with a hole in one of the bathroom ceilings. Fortunately, they have 2 bathrooms, so it's a first world problem, but I kind of want to get it fixed because I can't stand the thought of having tenants in a house with a hole in a ceiling, to be honest, with with a bucket. So, but that too is on hold because the agents that need to go out and look at these properties aren't allowed to go in those, and I think the particular house in question is in isolation, is in actual isolation. So
so you definitely need to put safety ahead of aesthetics in that case. Then
we do, and if it was their only bathroom, then I think that would constitute, in my eyes, a bit of an emergency. But it's in the basement, it's fine. They've shut the door. There's a bucket under the hole. They can live as normal, so I'm less worried about it. I just don't like the thought of it. But as we know, these are strange times, and we've just got to take what comes and do the best we can.
Indeed. How are you finding your managing agents? Because pretty much all of your properties are managed with agents, aren't they? Have any of them shut down or had
not
to,
shut down? I mean, they're just working remotely. So I think they're all accessible. They're all available, which is great.
How about your purchasing agents that you're dealing with at all? Are any of those still around? I think quite a lot of them have gone into hibernation. Maybe not shut down, but certainly reduce staff and things like that, because of course they can't do any valuation visits. They can't do any viewings or anything like that. So
I think hibernation is a good word. I mean, again, I've had an agent just gone MIA. I need to email them actually, but you phone the main number and that's just going through to an answer machine, but it doesn't say whether or not there's anyone around. So, so I think there's just a little bit of uncertainty in some areas. I think the majority of people I work with, companies I work with, I would say 80% plus have handled this really well. I've got accountants I've been dealing with. I mean, they actually email me every day with the updates from the government and so on, and how that impacts tax, how that impacts corporation tax, what we can do on business rates, dividends, So I think they're just progressing. But then you're always going to have the 15-20% that kind of don't handle it as well and just drop off the radar, which is not the way you want it. But there you go.
Yeah, indeed. How have you been finding your own working from home?
Yeah, for me, that's been absolutely fine. A little bit like you, just work consultatively. So the only challenge for me is getting hot ears because I've got headphones on, headphones and a microphone on, sometimes for 7-8 meetings a day, and we're also conducting other meetings. And it's what I really like about this sort of environment is where things just carry on. So where there were local networking meetings, they're now running those on Zoom, and I think it's really good that everyone's just trying to keep things going as best they can.
Yeah, my daughter's guides group did a Facebook Live this week instead of their meeting to sort of set some challenges, and my son's Scouts group had a Zoom call, which I think was a little chaotic with lots of Scouts shouting and things, but I think seemed to work okay. And similarly, there's a Zoom call scheduled for my other son's Beavers group tonight. Yes, tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, as you say, people have just largely decided to get on with it and made the jump to the technology and using the tools more. And so far, I think so good. Really, it's obviously different, but it's still going.
Yeah, and that's it. I think that's the spirit. Is we just got to keep moving ahead as best we can.
Yeah, indeed. As I mean, you and I normally use a shared co-working space for a lot of our time, even though we obviously sort of can work from home. I mean, we work remotely all the same, just in a shared space. And of course, we're not visiting that at the moment. So there's some changes going on, but it's all surmountable really at the moment.
That's it. So I think that's a good point for us to wrap up, isn't it? Is that we stay positive. It's all surmountable.
Indeed.
we keep going.
Yep. Different, but not necessarily bad.
And we've avoided the word unprecedented. Well done, us.
Oh, look, you've gone and spoilt it right at the end. Or maybe I'll edit that bit out. We'll see.
Well, that's fine. That's a good test for whether people listen to the whole episode or not. Whether you get some stick.
That's the point, actually. It would be great if more people got in touch, and there are details to reach us via Facebook or Twitter, and email. You can reach us as Simon at thebusinessofproperty.com or Stuart at thebusinessofproperty.com. So please do. Be great to hear any comments or thoughts, or how other people are adapting to the new challenges and looking forward. Be great.
Stay safe.
Indeed. And show notes are at thebusinessofproperty.com.